It's Military Monday. I got all my pages open. So there we go. It's Military Monday, guys. Hi, good morning. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Mine was interesting, but mostly uneventful, which I think I like more than anything.
Spent the whole weekend at a conference.
That sounds awful.
Oh, what bad? Saw some old friends from all across Louisiana, Mississippi.
Oh, that's good.
Alabama. It was at a one of these church camps, you know. It's an anonymous program I'm talking about, so I'm not going to.
You're not allowed to say what it is. Yeah.
But
one of
you guys
those
know what I do for a
programs
living.
where
I'm
you
in the rehab business, so
say your name, just your first name.
my little badge had my name and my last initial on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you admit to a bad habit.
No. That's the rest of them. I'm married to the person with the bad habits. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what her bad habit is? Dyeing her hair.
That's it. It is these days anyway. Yeah.
What color is it now?
It is red bordering on orange with blonde highlights. It's really cool looking. Yeah. Nope. She's not home right now? Wonder anymore, buddy.
Nope. Not the blue-haired wonder.
No.
Well, today we're going to be talking about a film called Gallipoli. There's a mini series that came out and a new book that came out in 2003 and a mini series that came out, was it 2015, I think.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to spend on that. It's a mini series of 7 episodes that I accidentally discovered while looking for the 1936 version of this movie.
Okay.
Was there a 1936 version?
I think it was 1936. I can't remember exactly the year, but the important thing is I didn't find it. So I'm stuck with this one only.
That's interesting. I should have looked for that myself. I didn't know there was an older film. It might not have the same name because it's also referred to as the Battle of Neck. Gallipoli. Oh, Gallipoli, because it's actually the main battle that we're going to be focusing on in this film is the Battle of Neck in EK, and it doesn't really tell much of the entirety of the battle, which was kind of a dismal failure because what they were trying to do is get away from the trench warfare of what was going on in Belgium and France, and ended up going right back into it.
I was fixing to say it looked just like that, right?
They did. They ended up getting entrenched and not be able to move an inch. And so the Australian, and this is one of the big mistakes made in this film historically, is it makes a British officer look like the bad guy when in fact that was an Australian officer. All the command were Australian on this mission. And so he was the guilty one. So in fact, I'll read to you some information on it. Let's see, because it was heavily criticized for some of the stuff it did. I think almost unfairly, because look at the little bit of criticism that the movie The Bridge on the River Kwai got, and it got almost everything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about that.
And they just lavished him with awards and accolades and it pissed me off because he's in English. Sir David Lean is Sir David or David Lean, and he's British, for God's sakes, and you would think that he would have fixed what Pierre Buell did. And Pierre Buell, like I said, is better known for having written the book Monkey Planet, which we know as Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote the book Bridge on the River Kwai, and he knew that he's French, by the way, And he knew it was French officers that collaborated with the Japanese. And he decided to change that and make them British.
What? French collaborated with the enemy? No.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, right? So he changed it in the book, and you would think David Lean gets it, a British film director, would change that. But no, he still makes it out that Alec Baldwin is the collaborator. I mean, Alec Guinness is the collaborator. Alec Baldwin just would have shot everybody.
I was fixing to say, shot first.
And then said, "Oh, I didn't pull the trigger." The only way that weapon fires, man, is if you pull the trigger.
I mean, come on. It doesn't happen by accident, boys and girls.
And then pull the trigger.
That's not one of those weapons you can.
What I'm suspecting is it was depressed when he pulled the hammer back. And he forgot. Because he's got terrible, as Anima loves to point out, trigger discipline. And he refused to get any more additional training on it.
Well, you trained me well. What can I say?
So here we go. Gallipoli shows much of the conditions and events the soldiers endured in Gallipoli, theater of war. Archie Hamilton's athlete character was inspired by a line from Australian war historian Charles Bean. In the official history of in war, 1914 to 1918, describing Private Wilfred Harper of the 10th Light Horse during the forlorn Battle of Neck. This is the one featured in the film. Quote, Wilfred was last seen running forward like a schoolboy in a foot race with all speed he could compass. An officer who wrote a letter later of Harper's mother stated, Wilfred, I believe, was one of the few men who got at least 20 yards.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
it's emotionally devastating when you read stuff like that.
Yeah, it's horrible, man. It really is.
When he says he's running like a schoolboy,
how fast you're running, when you're running right down the middle of a scope, you're gonna get hit. I mean,
well, when you hear somebody say running like a schoolboy in a foot race means he didn't have his weapon anymore.
Yeah,
he was just running towards the enemy. The most notable deviation of the film from reality, and the one which has been most criticized, is his portrayal of the chain of command at Neck. Although he is seen wearing an AIF uniform, Colonel Robinson is often mistaken for an Englishman due to his accent. In reality, Colonel Robinson speaks with what's called a clipped accent, typical of your upper-class Australian of the period. Colonel Robinson's character was based on Brigadier Major of the 3rd Brigade, Colonel John Antill, an Australian Boer War veteran. Indeed, very little British command and control was exercised in the actual Battle of Neck. And it is, in fact, they do show one thing that was funny because Australians didn't like the British. So there's a great scene where you see some British officers walking by or riding by on their horses. And one of the men says, "Sorry, sir." And then another guy starts to salute, and Mel Gibson's character pulls his hand down, and just they all give him the that wonderful fuck you stare.
Yeah. And then they grab the donkeys and start making fun of them. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I start riding up past them. It's funny as shit. There's some great fun in this film. It's all the way, it's until you get to the battle that you realize just how bad things are going to get.
Yeah.
In his best-selling history novel, Gallipoli, published in 2001, Les Carlion, and it's his book that was adapted for the newer miniseries, agreed that the film unfairly portrays the English during the battle, with Carlion laying the blame for a debacle squarely on the feet of Antill and 3rd Australian Light Horse Brigade Commander Brigadier General Frederick Hughes. This quote, the scale of the tragedy of Neck was mostly the work of 2 Australian incompetents, Hughes and Antill. And it's not Ant Hill, it's Antill. No H. And the film implies that the fictional and benevolent General Gardner called off the attack, when in reality the attack petered out when half of the fourth wave charged without orders, while the serving regimental commander of the trenches, Lieutenant Colonel Noel Brazier, attempted to get the attack called off. He was, and that's actually shown in the film because he was in the trenches and he was trying to get them called off because he's just sending wave and wave up to be murdered. Nobody was coming back.
Right up until their communications were cut, he was trying to stop it.
Yeah. So, and this is where the runners come into play, because runners' jobs were to run messages if the lines were down. And it is entirely for dramatic purposes the way it's shown in the film, but it illustrates a wonderful point of just how futile this battle was.
Yeah.
Other critics, Callion included, have pointed out that the Australian attack at Neck was a diversion for the New Zealand Expeditionary Forces attack at Sari Bair, not the British landing at Sivia, which is true. The British were therefore not, quote, drinking tea on the beach, end quote, while Australians were dying. Although I guarantee you some British were, because they're fucking assholes. We know that from World War II, when all those Polish paratroopers were dying because the British were having tea. Anybody see the movie Bridge Too Far or read the book by Cornelius Ryan? It's fucking good.
Long time ago.
Oh, not Cornelius Ryan. Oh, shit. Cornelius Ryan wrote Longest Day. Fuck. Who wrote? He's a great author, and I can't think of his name right now. Anyway. Two companies of the British Regiment of the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, so that technically they're not English, they're Welsh, suffered very heavy losses trying to support the Australian attack at Neck once it was realized that the offensive was in trouble. Some have also criticized this film for its portrayal of British officers and their disdain for Australian discipline behind the lines. According to Robert Rhodes James, no evidence for any such disdain on the part of the British commanders for the Australian troops exists. However, the British command's low regard for the discipline of Australian troops behind the lines has been widely documented. So that whole first statement is just bullshit. They absolutely did have disdain for the Australian troops because English soldiers were proper.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Because at this time, still, if you were an English officer, you were from upper crust. You were born into that command. Historians such as Charles Bean and more recent ones, such as Callion, as well by the oral tradition of survivors who stated there was documented historical proof of the disdain and criticism of Australian troops by the British officers. So, in British command. I saw the comment there. No, it's, hold on a second.
Teak is right. It's written by Ryan.
Is it by Cornelius Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I did get it right. God damn it. I love it when I just pull a name out of my ass and then I am right. It was Cornelius Ryan.
Ooh, that's a stinky name then.
What's that?
That would make it a stinky name then.
We'll call him Cornelius Poophole Ryan. There we go.
Oh, my. Do we have to go so low every single time, guys?
Oh, man. You know.
By the way, I wanted to point out, Anima and I tried to watch a British series about the history of cinema in the UK.
God,
and I was so disappointed with it, I had to stop watching it. Because they were giving part information and not giving you the full information.
And they say stupid things.
Why bother? You know, why bother if you're not going to put out all the information? Because I'm sitting there, I'm going, they just left out, and I started telling her other things. And it's like, oh my God, they're leaving the best parts out. And then I just stopped watching the show because I got frustrated over it.
They just couldn't be bothered to do proper research. That's what it felt like.
You sir don't get a breach. No. Who
was the one who asked? Who was the one who asked for this show? Andy. It was Andy Morrow, right?
I think it was.
Or
Tim.
was Glenn Fleming?
I think it was Andy Morrow. It might have been Tim.
Or Glenn.
Tim.
I don't know if it was Glenn or not, but we will. By the way, we will do A Bridge Too Far. I think the only reason why we haven't done it so far is because that is a long ass movie.
Yeah, it is.
And I just haven't wanted to put Anima through that, but I think she's kind of earned it with the little shithead attitude she's taken with me over the last week.
Oh, fuck off, Gerry. Fuck off.
She got a little poopy with me.
Look it up.
Oh, she's always a little poopy with me. So.
Dude, we have to watch the saddest movie ever, the one that lasts 3 hours with the 1 hour of a wedding and shit.
Oh, Deer Hunter.
Yeah, Deer Hunter.
Oh, that was depressing.
I endured that for one reason. Don Ecker. That's why I endured that movie, because I don't like Cimino's movie. I'm not a fan of that film. I think that Chris Walken is great in it. De Niro, even though I think he's a complete scumbag in real life, is great in that film. Meryl Streep is good in the film. Everybody in that, George Zunza is great in that film. The problem with that film is this bullshit. It's just, that never happened.
Yeah.
That never happened. But
still, it was a good movie. Absolutely depressing and soul destroying, but it was a good movie. Unless the Thin Red Line that we saw and didn't make a show about it because it was so fucking.
It's one of those movies.
Oh, so bad.
Gary's
list you have to be mentally prepared to watch. It's just.
I didn't have to endure the whole movie, The Thin Red Line.
I sped through all the dumb parts, and I got shut down on a thread because a guy said that. What is his name? Thin Red Line. Oh my God! I corrected this guy because let's see, where's the cast? He said that Corporal Fife was the main character of the story. I went, no, he wasn't. The two main characters were the first sergeant and Private Witt were the main characters of that story. Fife was like a minor character. And because I, made that correction, I said and I was very polite in my way of saying, I didn't say, "Hey, dumbass." I said, no, Corporal Fife wasn't the main character. The main character was Witt and his first sergeant, both in the book and in the both films that were made. And they deleted my comment.
The only thing I remember about that movie was Nick Nolte.
Yes.
Nick Nolte.
Yeah. He's
Hey, Nick,
I remember.
Tell me a bedtime story. Fuck you. Oh, that's my favorite.
My favorite.
I love that scene.
It's one of my favorite scenes with Eddie Murphy and him. Hey, Nick.
It's my favorite Eddie Murphy movie, period. I love that.
I think it's interesting they have Germanic lettering.
Lettering? Yeah.
Yeah.
When there's no Germans in this. This is between the Turks, the Ottoman Empire, and the Allied forces.
This character reminded me a lot of the guy from Chariots of Fire.
Absolutely, because I brought that up while watching it, that this is reminiscent of that film.
This movie was made first, but yeah.
Because it's a very good film, too.
Yeah, it is.
We should do that on a Saturday.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, that's not for this show, but it's a good
movie.
I
mean, it's the first film with Vangelis' soundtrack that got an Oscar.
Oh, yeah. God, that song was huge. It was all over the radio when it came out.
Now, I do want to point out that this soundtrack is a mishmash of music.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some, I almost said Schubert. It's, who's the Swiss classical composer that they used twice in the film? 2001 Space Odyssey. Strauss, thank you. Here's Strauss in there. There's a lot of music from the period, a lot of classical music played. And Anima was a little surprised by it. I said, no, they like that kind of music. The older guys, the older crowd. Officers. The young soldiers like the more contemporary music of the period. And but I will point out that the main song in the film, I forget the name of it right offhand, it sounds like something from a sci-fi film.
It does. It does.
Let me do that real quick.
I'll tell you.
You mean the slow music with the organ and the strings?
No,
That keeps
because
coming.
that is also part of the theme. That's a different composer too.
That's Albinoni.
While you're looking that up, I got to tell you the director of this movie I really like. I call him the fish out of water director. He does a lot of stories.
Peter Weir.
Yeah. My favorite ones he's done is the two he did with Harrison Ford, Witness and Mosquito
That's on our list.
Mosquito Coast is a really good movie too. If you've never seen
It's such a it was a commercial failure.
Yeah, it was, but it's a great movie, man. It's really good.
And it just, but it is a good film. It also teamed Harrison Ford and River Phoenix together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why he got the part of playing young Indiana Jones, was because he was playing his son in that film.
With him in that one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This guy's a bully.
Living off the grid. Watch Mosquito Coast, man. That's pretty wild.
What makes that a tragic film is that he lies to his family to do what they did.
Yeah.
By the way, Paul Theroux wrote that book, and it was one of Paul Theroux's is like his great nephew, I think, plays the main character when they made the TV series. But I tried watching a TV series, and it went so far off the reservation with what the book was about, I couldn't stand it.
I didn't even know they made a TV series.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Some people loved it, but it got 2 seasons is all it got, and I don't think it'll get past that. Just nobody watches it. It's not good. It's really not.
How long ago?
2 years ago.
Okay.
It's pretty recent. And they even call it Mosquito Coast.
Okay.
Let me go. Drama series. Here we go. 21 to 23.
Wow.
And it's over. They got 2 seasons, and just the story was just not very good. Great acting, and Paul Theroux's great nephew, like I said, is in it. His name is Justin Theroux. It was a great cast. Everybody was really good. It was just terrible writing.
Real. I like how they showed the Aborigines at the beginning of this too.
Yeah.
They didn't shy away from that either. Pretty good.
Yeah, the mistreatment of the Aboriginal people in Australia.
That one guy that leads up to this race between the man on horseback and the guy, running barefoot. It was all because it all got started because he was being a bigot to his friend, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now here, his uncle / trainer gets so pissed because he ran that race barefoot.
He ruined his feet
Jacked
the day
his feet
before a
up
big
3
race.
days before a race. What man? Come on.
That was
Well,
stupid.
he doesn't care about the race. He wants to go to the race just to sign up for the army.
Right.
He's
18.
using the.
We all do
He's using the.
shit as teenagers.
He's using the sport as an excuse to have access to a recruitment center.
Yeah, but his uncle doesn't know that. He thinks he's all in for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
We all do things like that, for all of our different reasons. I played sports because I wanted to get laid.
It's all dick measuring. That's all it is.
Dad was like, "I'm so glad you love sports." Well, yeah, Dad, I love sports. That's why I'm doing this. To make you proud. That's why I'm, because that's going to get me far in this life. But I do love this scene. And this is such a good film, from every aspect of the storytelling, because everything is so personal. You get to know each character really well. All right, just checking. It says it's 168.
I like when they do that, when they don't just throw you right into battle, but you get to know them before they're soldiers.
Well, yeah, because I think that's important, because I tell people all the time, when you make a war film and just throw them right into the middle of the battle, you're going to have a hard time getting to know people. You're just going to get to know the soldier version. And for you to have empathy for a character, you need to be able to watch them go through what they're going through. And that change from who they were in real life to who they become with a uniform is an interesting transition. I saw it up close and personal, how, who people became when the chips are down, when the stress is on, when you get, your metal tested. So I've been failing to check up on the chat. I've been caught up in the conversation so much. Let's see who all is here right now. We got Admiral Teague in the chat watching. What's up? D-Bud Martin.
What?
Which I got to tell you, D-Bud Martin is probably one of the most valuable people in all of our chats because he does such a great job with wrenching out there. And,
I still think he deserves a video for his breach.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Come on.
All right.
Gotta do what the missus said.
Give me a second.
Car just pulled up to the back door.
There you go.
D-Bud.
And then I see that Sci-Fi Mommy is here. Good morning, ma'am. Hope you're having a good day. Oh, shit. D-Bud has to go. Well, you got your video.
See you, D-Bud.
See you, dude.
Asta, buddy. Sorry.
He's a hard-working wrench on so many channels. Every time I go to visit a friend's show, he's there.
He's there with a blue
Wrenching.
wrench.
I think he's a wrench on all the channels, I think. He's just so good.
And now that 6 seems to have disappeared out of all of our lives, it kind of bums me out.
It's sad.
She'll be back. Last time I saw her, she was on Midnight's Edge in the morning. Is that right?
When was that?
God, it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, because it was about 2 weeks ago when she just said she was removing herself. She was kind of sick of the drama. We see far too much of this where people from one show go after another show, and you shouldn't do that. Keep that shit private. Don't do it out in public.
Don't do it at all in public, in private. Don't do it. Just focus on your thing.
We don't need no stinking badges. That's what you should say at the end of that sentence.
There you go. It would sound like really great if you said it too, Martin.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Martin should say that. We don't.
Mel Gibson. God. How old was he?
He was a couple of years older than he was when he did Mad Max.
Yeah.
Because he shot that in 78, released in 79, and he made this one in 80, and it got released in 81. And he looks like a kid. Like I showed her a clip from Mad Max, and we are going to do that, by the way. We are going to be doing Mad Max and Mad Max 2. I don't know if I'm going to do the third one.
What? No,
I wasn't as big a fan of that. I really wasn't.
What's the
Me
third
neither,
one?
to be honest. Yeah. Has its moments.
I
like
it's the saxophone player that switched me off on that film.
What the fuck?
It's the dude it's the same saxophone player from Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
That big muscular sax player. He's still on that beach, by the way. The same beach that they shot the movie.
He still lives there?
Yes, he still plays there with bands and shit.
Nice.
I'm not fucking with you. It's a totally true story. He's still there. I hear stories from people that, like, he was there, he played, dude. It was awesome. Still got long hair, still muscular, still playing the sax the same way, like he's fucking.
Where was that film? Was that San Diego?
No, it was. Oh shit!
Oh, don't
I'm
worry
so
about
glad
it.
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't care. Don't get derailed. Let's
Yeah,
stick to this
don't
one.
derail yourself with that stupid question. I'll look it up for you. Go.
Hi, Penny.
I'm already doing.
Hello, Penny.
Hi, Penny. Oh, the kid's driving you crazy. Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So,
Mel's a hustler in this one, man.
Oh yeah, a hustler, no, the hustler.
The hustler, right? Yeah.
his character, of course, likes running. So that's the friendship that these two get, and it's so funny because you see the bond between them, and then they get separated, and then they get back together again in the film.
Yeah, because the light horsemen were sent in as infantry troops, which, by the way, they weren't trained for. That was one of the problems they had. They were trained in combat on horseback, and then they had to be on foot.
Look who we have here.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Tim.
There he is.
You know, you think of the devil. There he is.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
And
he's cool.
Mel Gibson's like, oh, so I can make money off this.
Right?
This is a great.
That would be illegal. Sure.
Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention in that earlier scene is that because the bully says you got to run it barefoot, and so he says, "Well, if I got to run it barefoot, you got to ride your horse bareback."
Bareback, yeah.
Oh,
and that's
And
why
he
he
doesn't
doesn't
have
show up. That's why the guy didn't show up, because he
fucked on
couldn't
the way
handle
there,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. He was winning the race for just a little. In fact, when they cross paths, he mugs the runner, and next thing you know, he fell off the horse.
Bareback isn't for everyone.
Oh no, it isn't. Believe me.
Why isn't it called the Running Man Monkey Jeeps? Why isn't it called Chariots of Bloody Fire?
And I do love this race because what the kid does at the end of this is shows his mettle as a person.
I don't know what you have to say about that.
He still wins. Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother with that. Be stupid all you want, Tim. I don't care.
What happened? What?
Look at Tim says.
He keeps insisting that I'm in Australia. And it stopped being funny a long time ago, to be honest.
Well, she is cheeky. I think she's become more cheeky since we had a relationship. She's even more cheeky today.
No, I stopped caring about being cheeky in public or not. I tried to behave at first. I gave that up quickly.
It's not so much as racist as it is that Aborigines are like, why are you running? You're not achieving anything. It's just running. No, they save their energy for things that matter. Ooh, look, a Trojan horse.
Yeah, right? I thought that was kind of weird.
That was funny.
You know, the saying, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, actually refers to the fact you should look in a gift horse's mouth because of the Trojan horse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are these axioms that people say and don't know the actual meanings of the saying?
Yeah, it's Anima's right. It's about the age of the horse.
It's about the age of the horse, because if people tell you it's a young horse, and by the teeth you can tell if it is or isn't, because they can make an old horse look great for a moment, but you will always be able to tell the age by the teeth.
Man, it's this race. even going to? Oh no! Yeah, here's the when he's
Yeah,
lying
that's where he's trying to
get
register the first time. Yeah.
Captain Australia.
And he almost gets away with it. Then the bully
Yeah,
fucks
but
him.
The dickhead has to out him. He still shows him he can ride, though.
A large wooden badger. Okay.
Yes, a large wooden badger. Run away! Now go away, or I shall taunt you some more.
You silly English kniggets.
Your father was a hamster and your mother smelled of elderberries.
What?
You got me on that. So Tim has been to Australia. Nice. I always wanted to, and then they became crazy.
That's isn't that what his Avatar is from Australia?
I know when I was in the military, everybody wanted to go because the rumor was that the women outnumber the men there.
I got offered a job at Microsoft in Australia back in the
Why didn't you
90s.
take it?
I went and did my due diligence research, and I found out that the most poisonous snake in the world is in Australia. It's a common brown snake. And the most poisonous spider in the world is called the common house spider over there. The funnel web spider, the big giant fangs, most poisonous in the world.
The thing is that that's for rural areas. If you're in a big city, you're fine.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
No, I hear stories about in the city too, in the suburbs. I'm just telling you right now, not interested. When I found those two things out, Australia was not for me, and I'll never go there.
Yeah, I won't either.
The Aboriginal guy coming up mentions the snakes when they go on their trek across the outback. Yeah. He says if the snakes don't get you, the sun will. Something to that effect. Because they miss their spot when they go to sleep on the train here. Oops. They travel 2 weeks out of the way, right? Daddy Longlegs poisonous? I don't think so. If that's the case, then I shouldn't have been playing with them when I was a kid. We got a bunch of them down here. Do not think Daddy Longlegs are poisonous.
They're not. Yeah, I think one of the biggest nightmares I ever saw was watching a TV show about emergencies, and this woman got nailed by one in her laundry while she was doing laundry. Funnel web spider.
Shit.
And I'm like, fuck that country. I love the Australians, but I had the general attitude, if they ever try to invade the rest of the world, it's like, yeah, fuck them, nuke them from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
I mean, the whole movie here is a fish out of water thing, but Mel Gibson's the one that's the fish out of water in this part of it. He's a city boy. He has no idea what to do when he's out.
And he's secretly the protagonist of the film.
Yeah.
Because we're made to think it's the other kid, but it's actually Mel Gibson's character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, he goes through training to fight on horseback, and then he's sent in as infantry. He's completely fish out of water.
Oh, another bridge.
Jeebus being Jeebus.
Gary must be reading something really important.
Yeah, that's a terrifying spider.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Let me.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me find something. Okay, the wild geese for you.
car just pulled up to the back door.
I love it how that scene in Wild Geese, how nonchalant the older guys are. So like, there's about 4 guys down there. No big deal. What'd you bring? This and this? He had a pistol and a grenade.
A grenade. There you go. I'm going to play you just a couple of seconds of this. This is the theme song that gets played when they're running. And I can't play more than that. But this sounds like, it looks like a sci-fi video too.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I can play.
That's all I can play. Yeah. And it does sound like sci-fi music. It does.
And I can hear something in Google saying, "Ah, let's claim them."
Right. It's a shame. What they don't understand is we're actually putting their stuff out there. You know, people might.
YouTube's assholes about it. That's why Rumble is so much better.
Yeah.
I don't see anything from Fortina in this movie.
No.
Gibbous, put the bong down.
Yep. Time to take a break.
Let me see.
50 miles of desert. How lovely.
No, actually, Chariots of Fire came out the same year this one did. The same year. That happens a lot in Hollywood, though. You get movies coming out with the same themes, you know.
Yeah.
Like what was it? Didn't Armageddon and Deep Impact come out the same year?
Well, they sped things up, and Deep Impact ended up having the later release.
Mm-hmm.
And the Armageddon made it to theaters first. And I kind of liked Armageddon, but I got really angry when they showed like Bruce Willis's character like death, the where they break it to you that he's going to die, and they do it 4 fucking times.
Yeah, I know.
And I went, okay, that's it. I got angry. I'm like, don't abuse my fucking emotions watching the movie.
Come on, man.
You're wearing me out, man.
He's gonna be
wearing me out, man.
We get it. That's my whole issue with The Notebook. That's a good movie. It's a good chick flick. But do I really need to see Jim Gordon?
Really, she's a scumbag and he's a scumbag too. In reality, I would not like people like them doing what they did.
Yeah.
So, but here you go. I was going to play this for you. This is a cover, so we don't get hit for covers. So I'm going to add this to the screen. Here you go, just so you can hear this theme.
Yeah, it's all synthesizer. Yeah.
And that's what plays every time they're running. I love that theme. And it's called Oxygen Part 2. And it's just an interesting song. And Peter Weir, you know, just like the director of Thief, he did Miami Vice. I forgot his name right now. Oh my gosh.
Michael Mann?
Michael Mann, and the guy who directed Chariots of Fire really helped introduce the world to synthesized soundtracks.
Yep.
First film being Thief with James Caan. Michael Mann introduced Tangerine Dream.
Yep. I am a huge Michael Mann fan. Love that guy's movies.
Ditto. I actually remember watching the first Heat that was made for TV.
Really? Yeah. Huh, I didn't even know he did that.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't know. I mean, I know he did Heat. I just didn't know he did one for TV.
He made it, and then he goes, you know what? I can make that better.
Right.
So he did.
Well, I know it's not book accurate, but I like Manhunter better than I did Red Dragon. I mean, Red Dragon is more accurate to the book, but you know, because the
I like them both.
Yeah,
I like them both equally.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about Manhunter was Michael Mann had that great soundtrack because he used a lot of music and synth.
Well,
and
he started in music videos, so you know, that's not
just like Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I know. A lot of these guys start in music videos, but Michael Mann is a fantastic director. He really is. His filmography is something to be envied. I tell you what. First movie I ever saw his was, I mean, I was a huge Miami Vice fan, but Last of the Mohicans is one of the most visually beautiful movies you'll ever watch, man. It is fantastic.
I've never seen that movie.
You never seen Last of the Mohicans?
Never really wanted to. I feel like it insists upon itself. I've been waiting for a long time to use that again.
Oh my God, that's good.
But I have never seen it. I have never seen it. I don't know why. Just never seen it.
You want to talk about a good
I know the music. I know the cast. I know the story.
You would love it. And you could do it on Military Monday. It takes place.
Oh, let me tell you something. Don't start a conversation with Julia Dye about that movie. She won't shut up.
Really?
She loves that movie.
All the women love Daniel Day-Lewis in that movie. Let me tell you, they all wanted to.
Yeah.
For that, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we get the picture.
Yeah. It's a great movie. It really is. I don't know if it's book accurate. I've never read the book, but man, the visuals in it. I know for a fact you would love one of the scenes where they're coming up on a fort that's under siege. It is one of the most beautiful things ever put on film. It really is. Because he doesn't put any soundtrack to it, nothing like that. They're approaching from the wilderness, and you see it in the skyline, and then they break through the trees, and you can see what's going on, and you hear it happening before you even see it. It's pretty damn awesome. You dig it.
Yes, the failed horse riding training lesson.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He's sitting there yelling for him to kick the damn horse.
No. When
he's helping
when the runner is trying to teach him.
Yeah.
And he can't even get.
He can't even
on
get
the
on
horse.
Get on, yeah.
Sad.
That's a funny little scene.
Poor fella. They help each other out a lot all the way there. I mean, the hustler is doctoring up an ID for him, right? Doing it. What is that? His birth certificate he's forging right there. Yep. Puts a beard on him and everything, right?
Oh, that looks so bad.
The worst beard ever.
Now,
it looked like he had glued pubic hair to his face. It was just really like, ew.
Yeah,
bro. What are you doing?
Because they did something like that on the MTV show.
There we go. Here comes the beard.
What was that? Yeah, the beard.
Yeah.
They glued the beard on the kid's face on the show where they do stunts and shit.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I'm looking for an answer from you guys. What's the name of the show? I can't remember.
I don't know.
MTV, the guys do stunts. A lot of them get hurt.
I know exactly
You're not
what you
talking
mean.
about
I
Jackass,
can't
are
come
you?
up with it. Yeah, I think that's the name.
Is that
Jackass.
Jackass?
What? Jackass, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, in one of the Jackass films, they put pubic hair on the guy's face, glued it to his
Good
face.
Lord, no. Ugh.
And then told him. And one guy admitted to having crabs.
Oh, good. Oh, thanks for the visual. Oh,
yeah.
Yikes.
I went to see the first Jackass movie with a buddy of mine, and he threw up during the movie. When they're eating the piss snow cones. I heard him, and I'm like, and before I could say anything, he was like throwing up in the aisles.
Hey, comic relief in the chat. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I love the hats in this movie. At one point in my bartending career, I was a manager at a country bar, and the corporate guys were coming in and they told me I had to wear a cowboy hat. And I flat refused because I'm a rock and roller and I was not going to wear a cowboy hat. So I bought an Outback hat and wore it the night the corporate guys came in. I even did the brim up like Indiana Jones's, popped it in the back and had it tucked down in the front, you know. I do dig those Outback hats. They're pretty cool. They got a wide brim on them. To keep the sun off of you in the wilderness out there in Australia. Because there ain't no trees.
Yeah, I've never worn a cowboy hat in my life other than as a kid. Because as a kid, you played cowboys. And as an adult, I've never allowed I've always worn ball caps or boonie caps or military uniform hats. But in the Army, I had a boonie cap too.
Yeah.
And by the way, Max stole that one too.
Yeah.
Right.
Great.
He steals everything that's good from you.
Yeah,
He even tried to steal me.
Yeah, anything that that I like and care about, he will try to take.
Yeah, I think I told you we were one of the last units that were issued jungle fatigues out there on Johnson Island. Let me see if I can get it. It's got reflection all over. I'm trying to get there. There you go. That's me standing on the seawall on Johnson Island with a 60 in my hands.
Yeah, it looks. I was about to say it looks like an M60.
It is.
Is it a nut sack on it? What is it?
What?
No, that's I think that's a towel hanging from something on my belt.
Okay, let me bring this. Hey, put the picture again.
Okay.
Put the picture on and solidly out.
There you
Boom,
go.
boom.
Yeah.
Oh, see, it looks like a nut sack hanging from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what a nut sack is, right?
Yeah. It's a canvas portable
That's me back when I
ammunition
was a kid.
holder.
Yep. Me when I was God, I must have been 19 in that picture. Standing on the seawall on Johnson Island. But yeah, we were the last unit in the U.S. military to be issued jungle fatigues, Vietnam era jungle fatigues with the slanted pockets.
Right.
Yep.
Those were so much nicer.
They are, man. I so want to recreate that uniform and have it here.
There it is.
That is
Yep,
another.
there it is. Yep. No, I think that was a towel hanging from my.
Well, I could only see the little bit on my screen. It looked
Yeah.
like an. I'm like, is that M60 mounted with a nut sack? That's crazy.
It wasn't loaded. Yeah. I was the guy on the back of the Jeep. You know, we had a mount for it and everything.
Oh, shots fired.
That's right. I have no nutsack.
Oh,
I
Tim.
am Lance Armstrong. Yes, that's me. I'm Barney Fife when it comes to the sack. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I like this scene right here where they're seeing everybody off. The wife says bye to the guy that ends up being the commanding officer in the trench later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to throw a lot of stuff in here from, the story of the guys to being in the military. We see them training.
Yeah, in Cairo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, here's an M60 with a nutsack.
Mm-hmm. It's a belt.
That's a hell of a weapon,
guys, and it's crew. It's what they call a crew weapon. It's supposed to have two people, one feeding it, and
your squad automatic weapon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's every squad has a full automatic machine gun or light machine gun, and like the SAW is actually an LMG, whereas the M60. It's considered an LMG, but good God, that thing is heavy.
It is. It is.
It's anything but light.
Rambo thing with the belt on one arm and everything. You have to be built like Rambo to hold that gun like that.
And the whole idea is to be able to, you got to be able to throw a lot of ammo down range quickly for cover fire. And so if you don't have a Browning 30 or 50, you want a squad automatic weapon, which is today is called the SAW, squad automatic weapon.
Right. That's what.
But
that's
before
what
that,
David carried in
M60,
Iraq.
and before the M60 was the BAR.
Yeah. And by the way, if you guys don't know this, you can't lean on it either, because every weapon comes with an extra barrel in case it, because if you lean on it too long, it'll melt. It'll melt the barrel and gets really dangerous. Comes with an asbestos glove and an extra barrel, so you can switch it out on the fly. That's why they always say short controlled burst, because you go firing a belt-fed weapon like that, just leaning on it, yeah, you're going to melt that barrel pretty quick.
So yeah, we've had the BAR since World War One, the end of World War One, the very final year, 1918. Problem with BAR was magazine. Couldn't hold a lot of ammo.
No.
You would fire a burst and you're out. You got to reload. Yep.
What's Tim talking about here?
Oh, he's probably
because
talking about rugby or something.
Yes, they're playing rugby at the foot of the pyramid.
Yep.
I love this. I remember watching this when it came out, and just like, wow, they shot in Egypt for this. Mm-hmm. And first I go, I wonder how much that cost them.
Right.
Oh yeah, this is the speech, and we all kind of got something like this in the Army. You know, they had posters in the Army reminding you where you put your dick.
Yeah.
Be careful. Wear protection.
And nobody listens.
And it you know, in the military, there's also Susie Rottencrotch is a famous term used by cadre about hookers. Little Susie Rottencrotch.
I know it's rugby. Jesus, I'm not an illiterate.
Australian rules football. Yeah, it's pretty funny. They all start laughing.
Like this one.
Yeah.
Num 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 num. Should booby trap something and pretend you care about it, and have it be something you don't care about.
You know what I thought of when I was watching this, Gary? I was like, yeah, this is just about every military town. It's nothing but strip clubs and pawn shops everywhere.
Well, when you go overseas too, though, yeah, and that's true. Strip clubs, they finally got rid of them at Fort Leonard Wood.
Really?
There are no strip clubs outside of the base now.
Wow.
Thank God.
I know in Killeen, that was half the town. When you drove right off the fort, there it was. Pawn shops every other block. And
when you deploy and you like hit a new port, man, oh my God. That's what they're showing in this, is how people are just screwing them over for money. Yes, yes, yes. It's very, very good stuff. Very good, very good. Yes, ancient.
It's so
and they all buy the same thing. Right. Yeah, they all buy the same thing for different amounts. And then they go, and that's one of my favorite moments in the film. They go to the dealer and like start trashing his shop. And take the money, go. Take the money, go. And they go outside and they walk down about half a block. And the guy goes, "Oh, wait, mate. I think this is actually the shop I got it from."
Yeah, it's this guy.
Here's where they're making fun of the British, riding on donkeys and with monocles in. There's the Brits. Chap, chap, tally ho! Rabbo. Rabbo. They are not fond of the British.
No, they don't like them at all. Yeah, pretty funny.
Well, Australia saw the British as occupiers.
Colony? Wasn't that what it was?
Australia was a prison colony, and eventually they became free men. Yeah. But the British occupied Australia for years, and finally they became a free state, free nation. They still accept in Queen's Rule, and they work alongside the British on a lot of stuff. They have stood by us in every single war, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Every single conflict we've been in, including Vietnam.
Oh, you might want to get that slide off there.
Martin,
Come on, Martine. What you
there was a minority there. Oh my God.
doing?
I don't think Martin's
World
even
War I era porn, huh? That was
I'm
Playboy
assuming
back
he's
then.
not, because he's not doing his job. It's halftime.
No.
Martine?
Martine,
That's okay.
you with us?
Move that. And before we do, I wanted to show you a couple of things here. This is the memorial for the Australians and Allied forces that were killed there. This is in Gallipoli. And this statue commemorates a moment that actually took place during, not the battle at Neck, but one of the battles at Gallipoli, where a Turkish soldier saw a wounded officer and put up a white flag, ran out, got the officer, picked him up, carried him all the way back to the Allied line, left him, and they allowed him to go back and get back in his trench before they began returning fire at each other again. So they put up a statue in honor of that moment.
That's cool.
So, all right, Martin, do your thing.
Meet the Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated Inc. graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
Very cool stuff. Can't wait to see it, bro.
Me too.
I know. I know. You just want to get her done, baby. Yeah.
Here's the scene. Here's the scene where they both bought little miniature sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I paid $5.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I paid $7. So they go back there and they're going to try to get their money back, and they threaten to. That one, that's the one I think. Go in and starts knocking shelves down. Yeah, take the money and go. Leave. Oh man, it's the wrong shop.
Yeah, that's every military town right there. I was all set to do 22 till they sent me to that island, buddy. Oh, I'm going to do that again. Ugh. I was engaged when I got there, and Jody got my girl and gone, bro.
Jody, of course, is the guy who didn't join the military.
That's it.
And get your girl, because
That's it.
They fuck with you from day one in Boot, to start getting in your head, and they stop thinking about that girl back home. That boy that didn't join the army, he's got her now.
Yeah. Look, first night I got on Johnson Island, they hand me a gas mask. I go meet up with my unit, and we're having a party the first night. They said, "You married?" Nope. Good, because you won't be by the time you leave. I said, "I'm engaged." No, forget about her, dude. She's gone.
Yep.
And they weren't wrong. About 4 months in, right when I was about to fly her out to Hawaii for my 6-month break, I got the 23-page Dear Joe letter. Married, moved to Texas. Yep.
So, by the way, one of the cool things that came from World War I too was the U.S. began using the pump shotgun in combat. And the Germans it caused a diplomatic situation where they said it was against the Geneva Convention, Article 23E, I think. And they threatened that if they saw any American with a shotgun, they would execute them if they were captured.
Damn.
And the Americans said, "You do that, and we'll just start summarily executing every German we find."
Oof.
And the argument ended.
Yeah. There you go. You want to escalate it, we can do that.
Because trench warfare is up close and personal. And those shotguns, that's where they're dangerous.
Nothing better for home defense. Short range, hit everything right there.
Yep.
You don't miss with a shotgun.
Yeah, you get about a foot wide spread.
Yep.
So even if you miss, you hit them.
Yep.
Bugger off. My goodness, such coarse language.
Right.
Was that when another guy approaches them and tries to sell them the same thing?
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Yeah.
walks in, has two in his hand, he goes, "Fuck off."
Yeah, done.
Buying those. We know better now. And all those kids walking by, "Hey, we love Australia. We love Australia. You buy this?" Just constantly trying to sell shit to them.
So
today
they know they got money.
Tourists.
And this ends up. This is where Mel Gibson and he connect again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these days when you visit the pyramids, you get harassed pretty bad by street vendors.
Boy, I got to tell you, when I went to Mexico, it's ridiculous. I had this one kid. There's a photo of it. I've showed it to you, where he's like grabbing me, and I yelled out to Patty, "I need an adult." This kid won't stop touching me. It's freaking me out. Like, tell him to stop touching me. There's a great moment during Battle 2, Anima cut, that many of the rifles were had rubber.
The bayonets.
Yeah, bayonets on them. This one was just flopping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. They need to be made from rubber for safety reasons, but make them more stable. Come on.
And of course, during this attack, again, this is where Mel Gibson and the kid run into each other and rekindle their friendship.
Yeah.
And they lay there pretending to be dead or wounded. And the officer's like, "You can't all be wounded." It's like, yeah, we are. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, they're supposed to be enemies in the simulated battle.
Right.
They're like, no, we're buddies.
Yeah, our big exercise like this was Reforger on Fort Hood. We'd go out for 2 weeks, and we had people from Australia, from freaking Great Britain, all over the place, man, taking part in it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we used to do mass casualty situations because I was with a medical unit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun.
Did you ever take part in Reforger? It was a worldwide training exercise that they used.
What year?
The year I did it was 84 on Hood. Yeah. It's called Reforger. We were out in the field for 2 weeks doing that one. I used to be worried about war with Russia until.
Oh yeah, we never did this one.
Till I was on Fort Hood. That's when I quit worrying about war with Russia, because I knew that Russian tanks had to stop to fire back then, right? And I had.
Yeah, the Abrams changed that.
Yeah, Maine Fort Hood had 85,000 troops, and then you had North Fort Hood, which was the old fort, which was about 30-minute drive at about 50 miles an hour north, right? And all along that road were tank trails. And I was driving because a lot of North Fort Hood was housing for NCOs and officers, right? Their families and stuff. And we do security checks up there, once a day when they were on, you put your name on a list. When you went on vacation, we'd go check your house, make sure it was locked and everything, right? And one day I'm cooking about 50 miles an hour down the road, and this friggin' Abrams passed me, kicking up dust with its turret pointed down range, and just kicked one off right when it got in my periphery and blew the shit out of an APC down range at 55 miles an hour. He was passing me.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I ain't worried about war with them fuckers.
The laser targeting system on that thing is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Yeah. And I mean, they tell you during basic that our tanks are outnumbered 10-1, but God, it'd be like Custer's Last Stand. If they have to stop, we're going to run circles around them and just blow the shit out of them. Good Lord. It's crazy. Yeah, that's when I quit worrying about Russia. When I got the hood.
This is the officer that they do a good job with this guy, because he really gave a shit about his men. And but it leads to a problem down the line because they have piss poor communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. That's the whole thing. The guy in the rear in the bunker doesn't know anything about what's going on up front.
In my opinion, they should have 2 trenches in parallel, one for the fighting and one for logistic and communications, so the runners could have a clean way. But
that there should be basically connected trenches, so they can run and then drop down to the other trench, or drop back to the other trench. But they were trying to get away from trench warfare here in Gallipoli, and found themselves right back in it.
It's just brutal,
and it bogged him down. It led to so much death. Oh, this is when he gets his horseman hat. He's back with the horseman, and so he's got his feather in his cap, and they're not cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, all right, I'll go. And he starts talking to the women. His big old feather in his cap, Yankee Doodle.
He's such a show off.
But at this point in the film, you should have picked up that Mel Gibson's the main character.
Yeah.
Because we just stopped following the kid altogether for a while.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, Peter Weir's movies, it's usually a fish out of water. And that's what Mel is in this situation. He didn't want to be here. This was not his main goal, to be in the military. Matter of fact, he was avoiding it at the beginning of it, but it was this guy here that suckered him into it, right? His friendship with it,
Yep. A lot of guys do that. When I joined the military, John joined.
Yeah.
Because you watched Stripes together. That's why.
And he couldn't help but notice the similarities. Because one of the things he said, when I got the notification I couldn't be drafted, I said, I'm 26, man. That means, I got to go in the Army. And he goes, you're too old. Where do I know that from?
Right?
You're younger than me.
Joined the Army in my ROTC unit. Pissed them off, too, because it was an Air Force ROTC unit. We all joined the Army because they had a better college program, better funding for college. That was their big thing back then. That was their big recruiting tool. Was, you know, you put in $1, they matched $1, and they gave you a bonus for how many years you signed up for. I had $45,000 to go to school on when I got out after 3 years. I mean, you know, shit.
I can't remember how much I used all mine. I do know that. I went to 2 different medical schools, specialized training.
I used it until I got my first bar job and never went back to class, man. Just I was making money hand over fist. I was done going to school. Didn't get my associate's.
They can rely on that. They rely on the fact that a lot of people don't use their GI Bill.
Yeah. Didn't get my associate's degree till I was 47 years old working at Libby Glass. Applied Sciences, Industrial Control Systems.
So here we go. They're getting ready to ship out. This is going to be the big move. They're finished training, and now they're going to go fight in an actual war.
Yeah.
And they get sent to the Gallipoli Peninsula, which is just south of Turkey.
They get sent to the meat grinder. Just silly kind of warfare, man. I mean, the only thing sillier I've ever seen is the way that they fought the Revolutionary War. Those old battles where they just line up and shoot at each other across the field. It just seems dumb to me, you know. But hey, that's the way they did it back then. I've heard it said that World War I was the one where technology outpaced us and we weren't ready for what we could do to each other, you know.
Well, there's also a lot of experimentation with the war. We saw the use of chemical warfare.
Yeah.
Which, because of what happened in World War I, was outlawed.
Yep. Interesting stuff.
And
still love those hats, though, bro. Love the friggin' Outback hats. Those are cool. Dig them.
Just to give you an idea where it's at, we've got Greece here, the Aegean Sea. This is Turkey, and here is where Gallipoli is. This is the Gallipoli Peninsula, and right around in here is where this battle took place, right at the lower corner here.
Wow.
They filmed there too.
Seeing that.
They filmed on location.
I always find that cool.
That just shows you the significance of that, owning that piece of land. I mean, that's a major canal there, it looks like. If you hold that, you're going to cut off the water, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted control of the waterways.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is one of the first major battles that had a beach landing.
Now, they mentioned the flags. What was the significance of that during the trench warfare scene at the end of the movie?
Oh, it's a way of communicating things. Each signal corps.
Okay.
It's where Signal Corps got its start, using signal flags.
Mm-hmm.
Certain flags in certain positions. This is interesting because they show a guy get wounded here, and that wouldn't happen underwater, because the minute the bullet hits the water, it begins to it cuts its speed in half.
Yeah.
And within a second, it's stopped to a zero. It's just bullets don't go very far.
They keep doing that in movies, unfortunately.
You might as well be shooting at a concrete wall.
The physical considerations both apply. you're right, but the thing is, it's not bullets that they get hit by. It's flak.
No,
It's
and it's still the
fra-
same difference. It still follows
yeah,
the same rules.
it's the same principle. They wouldn't, but it was the
You have to be on
fra-
the surface to be wounded by
Mhm.
it. If you're
Yep.
under the surface, you're not going to get really hurt by it.
I would
I
think
remember
shrapnel
one
will slow down
physicist
faster
said
than a bullet
you
will.
can catch a bullet with your hand underwater, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, I would think that shrapnel would slow down faster than a bullet would
It would.
Yeah.
because it's wider and displaces
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
In fact, in the movie, you see the shrapnel falling slowly.
Like a leaf in the air.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Got any bacon, mate?
Welcome to the trench. Oh man.
That scene kind of freaked me out because there's a dead guy there and they're walking up, shaking his hand. Good eye,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
It's like that,
And-
that dead guy they have in Full Metal Jacket. They're treating him like he's their friend.
This
You
is
know,
his party, man.
Yeah.
It's his birthday.
it's his birthday. Get to meet.
The macabre side of warfare.
Well, I mean, you got to joke about it.
It is.
Kinda like
It's gallows
medical
humor.
profession, right?
Gallows humor, man.
Yeah.
Look
My
at all
wife
that
said
brass.
They're improvising grenades.
Which, by the way, was one of my favorite things in that series we just watched, Fallout, where the kid gets shot, and when they finally dig the bullet out, it's not a bullet, it's a tooth.
It's a tube.
Yeah, it's a tube.
Oh, yeah. Ew.
This is they're using just about anything they can find to make bullets.
Fallout
Shot by a tooth. I liked it. I've
Oh,
never
yeah,
played the
I-
game, so I have no complaints.
Yeah, I've never played the
loved
game
it.
either.
We're going to be
Guys-
doing it on a Saturday coming up.
We're wrapping it up on our show Wednesday. We did it this last Wednesday. You can watch the first part of it, but John hadn't seen the last 2 episodes, so we can't wrap it until this week. So,
Yeah, we'll
but all
discuss the
3
whole
of those
show on
guys
one
have played the
Saturday.
game and they loved it too. So
Well, the creator of the first game, he praised the show. So
Well, LG, war vet buddy of mine, he's a big, knowledgeable guy when it comes to the game lore. And he
Yeah.
says the show got a lot of stuff right and
Yeah.
should be praised for it.
Mhm.
So he's going to be joining us when we talk about it. In fact, he may be joining us on some more Saturdays.
you're talking about it this Saturday, is that right?
No, I'm probably going to do it in a couple Saturdays.
Okay.
After the next Tom and Gary, I might make it that Saturday, just so we can actually talk about the show.
Okay. Give people plenty of time to have seen it. Yeah.
Yep. Now, this is the prick.
Yeah.
And in reality, he's Australian command, not British.
And the whole plan was to lay down artillery to cover for them, to get them down in their hole so they could make an advance, right? And
yeah, but
the timing was off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
3 minutes off.
Yeah. I'm sitting there watching this going, at what point is this an unlawful command and just don't do what he says and, do what you can from the trench, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
At least have that much cover, right? But wasn't this to support something else at the same time?
Yes.
The New Zealand
movie-
troops.
No,
Right.
British troop. There was a British troops were going to do a beach landing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
Question is, did they manage to do the beach landing? Because there's
All I know is that
attack.
each beach landing was a failure.
Yeah,
There were
because-
2 beach landings, and they were both failures.
So
Gallipoli was absolutely a failure on the Allies' part.
So, other than the fact that the officer was Australian and not British, was there any, was this pretty much accurate to what happened that day?
Except for in the depiction of the final moments, that's not what happened. But and the way they were going up in waves without even command. It's really bizarre if you read it, because I read it at the beginning of the show. I don't know if you heard me. But let me get back to that part.
I might have been getting coffee, Gary. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I did hear what you were talking about the kid running his sprint there at the end.
Yeah, here it is. The film implies that the fictional and benevolent General Gardner called off the attack, the likable officer. That's not what happened, when in reality the attack just petered out when half of the 4th wave charged without orders, while the surviving regimental commander in the trenches, Lieutenant Colonel Noel Brazier, attempted to get the attack called off. It just...
Yeah.
They were mostly dying, so there was really just... It petered out. This moment is purely for dramatic purposes in the film. And I think it's a great conveyance of futility. I mean, you look at this guy, you can tell this kid's dying. Gunshot wound is what's written on the tag. He's gray in color.
Yeah.
This kid's bleeding to death.
He's almost
Hey,
gone.
Sax in the house.
Hi, Sax.
Let me pause this. And
Hey, fuck you, Carl.
There you go.
You can tell from this movie, though, that Gibson was going to be a star. He was.
Oh, you didn't even tell all the way back with Mad Max.
Yeah.
It just... And what was cool about that one is the guy that plays Goose in it, in real life, was his best friend.
Yeah.
Played his best friend in the film. That was awesome.
Well,
They also
Darren
did a
wasn't
surfer
really happy
film
with
together.
him, though.
Who?
The director found him unmotivated working with him.
George Miller?
Found working with who?
Mel Gibson. He found him to
Really?
not be very motivated, yeah.
I never heard that.
I'll tell you what's wild about that movie. The first time I saw it, I saw the dubbed version where they dubbed all the voices.
I hated that version. That's what we got
but that
from
was the first
American
time I saw it.
International.
It was on HBO when I saw it the first time as a teenager. And, you know, and I saw it years later, the undubbed version where they have their actual Aussie accents and everything. And it was really cool.
That's the version I have.
Yeah. If you saw it the first time, though, it was dubbed, and it was really weird. So you could tell the voices didn't match up.
Gibson's voice is like really odd.
Mm-hmm.
Here I found it. It's in the trivia on IMDb. At the time of filming, Peter Weir felt that his young star Mel Gibson was full of beans and really with no grand career ambitions.
That's funny.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
right?
Couldn't be more wrong, because he worked with him again.
Yeah.
He worked with him on was it The Year of Living Dangerously? Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it. Yeah, Year of Living Dangerously.
Sax wants to know why Mad Max was dubbed.
Don't know. I don't know. It could have been.
International wanted to release it as an American film.
Yeah.
And
the Aussie accents, if you see the original one, you can't understand half of what they're saying. It's really thick. Yeah.
I can understand them. I had no trouble, but in fact, it's my preferred version. But when they released it here in America, American International hired American actors to dub all the characters.
Yeah, it's not the actual actors at all. You can tell. That's not Mel Gibson's voice.
Yeah, that is not Mel Gibson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And oddly, even though technically Mel Gibson is American because he was born here, he did develop a thick Australian accent, and he had trouble getting rid of it. And you can actually hear it. My favorite moment was in the second Lethal Weapon film when he's at the grocery store flirting with the girl. And he said something, and I'm like, oh man, you could hear it in his what he said. But he eventually got rid of it. Yeah. It's gone. You know, I'm sure he could probably pull it back if he wanted to, but he's lost that accent.
I don't know, man. All the English speakers sound the same to me.
Accent?
Okay.
What accent?
No. It was a racist joke, but in reality, at least in my case and some of my friends, English not being of our first language, we don't have so much trouble understanding different accents of English.
Yeah.
Or we could say you have the same amount of trouble with all different accents of English.
There you go.
Not hearing it, but only when I speak it.
I tell people all the time I'm a transplanted Yankee. My dad is from Boston, Massachusetts, and my mother's from Maine. And if I go visit them for a couple of weeks, they think I sound like the most southern hick they've ever heard in their lives. And when I come back, I'm dropping my R's, right? I'm parking my car in the yard, and everybody around here is like, what in the hell has happened to you?
I was in the backyard and had a heart attack.
That's it. Had a heart attack.
So you're a traitor wherever you go.
Yeah, that's it. People don't understand me no matter where I go.
Yeah, I told you that lady when I was like 12 years old and I was collecting newspaper. I got that job with the largest newspaper route in town. And I collected from this lady, and she opened the door and she looked at me and I said, "Hi, ma'am, I'm here to collect on." And before I finished my sentence, her eyes got really huge. She took her cane and threw it at me.
What? Why?
And called me a goddamn Yankee. Get the hell out of here, you goddamn Yankee.
Wow.
I was afraid to go to her apartment for years. You know, I was terrified of that woman. Finally, she lightened up on me because all the old people around the complex loved me. Because I was so helpful and I was doing shit for him.
Yeah.
And finally she lightened up. And then years later, I'm an adult working in a nursing home. And I ended up having to take care of her.
Wow.
At a nursing home.
Nice.
And she remembered me and we would talk. And then the day she died, her family came in and later that evening to give me her silver crucifix that hung on her wall. She said she wanted this left to you.
Oh, nice.
I had that for years. That was just a wonderful gift from a lady that hit me with a fucking cane.
You never told me that story. It's the first time.
Yeah, he has said it before in the show.
I have talked about it.
Let me tell you something.
I stopped this, by the way, for a reason. So continue, Martin.
We had a civil war too in Venezuela, and we have almost all the things that you have so much trouble until today. We already had it too, civil war, slavery, and shit. And man, I can tell you this: you gringos can hold to grudges. I don't understand how you are infighting today about those things. I can't.
It is pretty ridiculous. I've never held to it. I got into a fight with a guy because I told him I was from Virginia, and he says, "Oh, you're a Yankee." And I said, "Where was Robert E. Lee from?
Right?
Where was Jackson? Every single major general and the command. Where was the capital of the South? Virginia. Fuck off with that."
Right.
Majority of the battles were fought in Virginia. That was the front line for the war. So I did fucking talk to. I left it there for a reason. I'm trying to get back to it. I told you I paused it for a reason. Because this is how command would look over trenches. They had these handheld periscopes.
Yeah.
And they're trying to watch the other line. This is the most insane way to fight a fucking ground war.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
With a periscope. And it just blew my mind. Every time I look back and see those things, and it first of all, there's no depth control to it, so don't see depth. Eventually, they came up with binocular versions of them.
It just, this
you
whole
need
thing,
to have depth.
the ending battle of this show is just wholly depressing. It really is. It's just wow. They're just getting up and getting slaughtered. It's because their clocks were off. That's crazy.
3 fucking minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
3 minutes is an eternity under fire.
Yeah, but still.
Well, it's those 3 minutes they took to get back in the trench. And they were counting on them not being there.
And it's not the North, because that is where the command was, where the capital was for the South. It wasn't in Atlanta. It was in fucking Richmond, Virginia. The president of the Southern states lived in Richmond, Virginia. And the line of was the Virginia border. But I got that from some dipshit at a what do you call those places? It's the Pancake House, Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Said that to me in Atlanta. And I looked at him and I said, do you not know your fucking history? Virginia's not north.
The Dixon line is what he's using, which is
stupid.
Anything north of the Carolinas, you're a Yankee. Yeah.
That's bullshit.
It is. It's bullshit.
Hey, Shinotsky's in the house. What is it?
Yeah, for people being hated over things they have no control over. By the way, there's a cat. There's a cat breed that I have always joked is very racist in its name.
Oh my god!
And its first name is Maine.
Oh yeah, the Maine Coon. That's a beautiful.
You didn't have to say it.
beautiful, giant cat.
It is a really beautiful cat. It's fucking enormous.
Yeah. Well, my wife has thought about getting one. I'm like, no way, we're not getting anything that big. No, I don't think so.
No, I don't care about the size.
Though. Yeah,
I don't care about the size. The thing is, here in Mexico, they cost a fortune.
Not just there, Martin. One of the more expensive breeds.
Here we go. They go up over the top, and immediately, like, guy is dying right here. Yeah. And it's just like,
why even stick your head out?
Yeah, the Turks have machine guns all over the place. That's a suicide mission right there.
Yes, they have 5 machine guns aimed at that specific trench. So
this is what communication
to support
goes down.
Something else the Brits are doing, and they've got to do it. They've got to draw the fire.
Now communication's gone.
I can understand from this why the Australians don't like the Brits so much. They're using them as cannon fodder.
Well, at the same time, they didn't like the Brits because of how their country was formed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the weapons they used an American Browning pistol, the Mauser pistol. I love the music here, and just, oh my God, the tension built.
Mm-hmm. Mel's trying to sell it to the commanding officer. He's trying to tell them. They're just getting wiped out, you know?
Yeah, he does not want to keep sending them in.
No.
But he has to.
And of course, the machine guns they're using here is the old Maxim machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Yeah.
I think that's the water cooled one. It's enclosed, right?
I was fixing to say it's got a huge cowl around the
Yeah, I think that's the water. They still they had to fire in bursts because continuous fire would melt the barrels.
Like I was talking about with the 60. You lean on that, you're gonna melt the barrel. Yeah.
Yep.
It's too much heat.
It was also the problem with the MG42. And that's why when they talk about the film Saving Private Ryan, when you see the MG-42 firing down onto the beach in continuous bursts, they says that is not how they would fire. They would fire in bursts because they couldn't afford the barrel to melt.
Yep.
There it is. Fray Bentos. I buy their meat pies. They're still in existence, that company.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They make the steak and kidney pie you can buy and have shipped to you. You can buy it through Amazon now, but they doubled the price. Actually, it's more than doubled because you can buy those for like $4 in Britain, but then you pay $16 to $26 to ship it to you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So what Amazon does is it just charges you $15 to $17 for a pie. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Everything's going up more than twice, man.
They need a company. Fray Bentos needs to have a company in the United States manufacturing their fucking pies because they're amazing. They're in a tin, and you take the tin top off, and then you put the bottom tin in the oven with it, and it bakes in the oven. The pie crust. It's really good.
Sounds pretty damn awesome, bro.
Man, in this moment in which everybody's writing their last letters.
Yeah.
And they stick them in the wall of the trenches. In real life, that's what they would do. When they knew it was that they were getting ready to do a charge, and the odds were against them coming back, they would write letters and they would stick them into the walls of the trench to be found later.
I've got a question about this scene. Now, when the first charge lets out, he tells them all to unload their weapons. They were just going to use bayonets. I'm like, why would you? I don't understand that thinking. Why wouldn't you?
It's a stupid order.
It is. It's stupid. I was like, what in the
Because
hell?
you may have to shoot that person off your bayonet.
Come on, man. Yeah. It made no sense to me. Did you hear that part when he was telling them to unload? I was like, that makes no damn sense. Didn't understand that at all.
I'll tell you why. Because he knew they were going to die. Leave your ammo behind is what he was doing.
Right, so we don't lose it out of the battlefield.
It's just heartbreaking.
God, just dumb.
Yeah, my grandfather too, Tim. My grandpa served in the trenches of World War I.
Yeah, he's saying it. That's
he is one of the soldiers that received the Croix de Guerre for what he did.
Mine was with Patton at the Battle of the Bulge. My Papa Joe Sr. You'd have loved his war room too, Gary. He had a war room in his basement. I saw it once when I was a kid. Huge Nazi flag behind it. He had a Hitler Youth knife. He had Nazi helmets, a bunch of shit.
You gotta be careful when you own stuff like that because in some states it's a crime.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Nazi
it should be a crime everywhere.
No, that is a part of history.
That's all the stuff he brought back.
No, I'm not talking about museums. It definitely belongs there. But I mean, owning it privately should be illegal.
Privately, you should contribute it and give it to the war museums. You shouldn't be owning that stuff.
It should only be in museums.
I do not agree.
Here we go. The bayonets in the wall.
Yep. Are you saying that belongs in a museum?
I am.
Me too.
I don't.
I didn't get mad at my. What am I going to do?
Yeah, but
my grandfather? I don't think so.
If we were all voting right now, the swing vote would be Joe.
There you go.
Do you think it belongs in a museum or you should own that stuff in your house?
I don't know. Harrison says it's supposed to be in a museum, so you know. I wasn't mad at my grandfather for having
you lose, Martin.
That's why I don't believe in democracy. Democracy are two wolves and a sheep.
Democracy and the democratic process are two different things. Democracy is not. Hey! Hold on. If we're going to talk about governments, democracy fails, but the democratic process works. And I do believe in the democratic process. I just don't believe in democracy. I believe in republics, especially constitutional republics.
Yes.
Because a republic can't stand either. It requires something to help it. And what we have is a set of laws that protect us, and that's how we as a republic survive. The United States is not a democracy, never will be. Not while I'm alive.
That's what you think.
No, I will fucking die before that happens.
Well, no, you're right. That won't happen. You are closer to become a socialist dictatorship than a democracy.
We are on the verge of, because the U.S. government acts as though it gives us our rights. It acts as though it gives us our money. And we give it money. We're the ones who pay taxes. The only money the government has is our money to use, misuse, as they so often do. And we are born with those rights.
Yeah.
The minute you're born in the United States, you are born.
That is
free.
true, but everybody under 40 thinks otherwise.
Well, we've got a big move, conservative move with young people right now that's really inspiring to see, because it's going to require them
20s,
to stop what's happening.
Yes, I hope you're right, man, because you don't have an idea how that shit really is. You think you do, but you don't.
Have you guys did you happen to see Joe Rogan's interview with Tucker Carlson this week?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that.
It was very good.
It was extremely.
Let's finish this up, because I want to get back to this. This is the end of the movie.
Oh man,
I want to get back to this.
Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah,
Trying to
because he's preparing himself to go over the wall.
Yeah.
With the words of his uncle.
Yeah. His uncle that trained him.
And he leaves his rifle.
Yeah.
He knows you
because to him it's a race.
Yeah.
How far he can get. Look at all those dead. The bayonets coming up. This is where Anima caught the floppy one during the previous attack, flopping around.
Yeah.
He's got to blow the whistle and fire the gun at the same time. And there they go. They go up over the fucking wall. And this is pure Hollywood fiction, but it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
And like he's just run the race there. You see that? Like you go through the ribbon at the end of a race.
Yeah.
Just arms stretched back, chest out. It's just one of those moments. And it's the film stops momentarily.
Freeze frame, and then it fades to black. That's it.
And I love how all the gunfire goes away and all you can hear is his breathing as he's running.
Yep.
And right there, like going through the ribbon, beautifully shot. And Mel Gibson collapses, holding his head because he realizes he's too late.
Yeah.
1 second. 1 second too late. That's horrible, man.
He beat him at the beginning and he beat him at the end, right?
That last shot is also an homage to an award-winning photograph taken at the Spanish Civil War.
Really?
Yeah. Taken by Robert Capa.
So I'm 80% conservative and the rest is social issues. Yeah, it's the same here. I'm 80% conservative. I would say anywhere between 60 and 80, conservative. I want a fiscally responsible government. I don't want a big government. I want a government that doesn't overuse and abuse tax dollars. I want the tax dollars to go to the poor. I want the tax dollars to help the poor.
Stay out of my wallet and stay out of my bedroom. We'll be all right.
I will take that advice. Thank you.
I'm talking about the government, but that goes for you as well, really.
Well, I prefer the government to be out for good. I am absolutely anti-government, but
governments serve a purpose. The problem is it forgets what its purpose is, and it begins to become self-aware, and that's the problem. And we heard warnings from Benjamin Franklin on that very subject.
Yes, I just have this thing in this thought in my mind. Constitutions exist to protect the people from their government. That should tell you something about the nature of government.
It should. It is there to make sure that the government doesn't ever become totalitarian.
This is what I'm talking about. That last shot in the movie pays.
Spanish-American War.
To this photo, it won an award.
Is it from the Spanish-American War? What?
Spanish
Civil War.
Yeah, Spanish Civil War.
On a Soviet soldier. It was also meant to mimic a runner going through the ribbon at the end of a race. Yeah, what you do in your privacy of your home, as long as you're not committing an actual crime against another person, like if it's like how a person wants to have sex is up to them, as long as they're not harming the other person against their will, and that they are of legal age. It's nobody's business. It's no one's.
Nope.
And I despise people who try to make it people's business too. These organizations and groups that push sexual identity. It's just weird to me. That shit's always been private and personal, and stop trying to make it public and everyone's business, especially kids. It's none of their fucking business. We don't need to be doing that, inundating children with that shit.
Nope.
I was perverted enough with my siblings learning stuff from them as a little kid. I was a little pervert at a young age.
What?
You were?
I was always diving
Great
into
minds think
my
alike.
dad's porn
You guys
stash.
make that joke, I will start telling stories.
Please don't.
I was always diving into my dad's porn stash. I mean, he had a
Ditto.
nice, the
I
Playboys.
didn't know about that porn stash until my older brothers showed me.
Yeah.
I'd have never known because I was naive, innocent. My brother. I'm going to tell this one story. We're in Colorado. We're in Colorado. I am in the master bedroom because I'm not in school yet. So I've got my sister's Barbie playhouse thing, that summer playhouse thing. And I've got Barbie and my G.I. Joes. And my dad walks in and he's looking at me, and I have G.I. Joe with his pants pulled down on a naked Barbie and doing this with it. And he goes, "What the hell are you doing, boy?"
Right? Where'd you see that?
And I turned and looked at him. I said, "What?" He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "G.I. Joe is raping and pillaging Barbie Dreamhouse."
Oh!
What?
Oh!
Dad looked at me. What? And his eyes got big, and this is what happened. He backed up, and he turned his head to the right, and he goes, "Michael, come in here." They knew my brother Michael had taught me something he wasn't supposed to teach me. I got busted again another time because I had like multiple Evel Knievel.
Yeah, you wind it up and let her go.
Before you go there, you should have told your dad, "I wanted another G.I. Joe, but I know you're not gonna pay for it."
I was so naive, I didn't know what any of this meant. So I'm sitting there one day with Evel Knievel, one of them, and the other one is sitting next to me, and they're like this. They're in 69 positions.
Oh.
And my dad saw that again. He goes, "What's going on?" I said, I looked over, I went, "Michael showed me a 69, how to make a 69. My dad just like shook his head. Michael wasn't there. He was at school. He's just like, "God damn that fucking kid."
Oh yeah, that was fucked up.
It was nice to be on a YouTube channel. By tomorrow, this channel will be nuked.
You can find us on Rumble, guys.
But past that, my siblings were really like, we had interesting relationships. I was close to my brother Michael until he died. And It was the only one I was really close to. You would think my sister Michelle and I would be closer, but when she got diagnosed with schizophrenia, it really put a hurt on our relationship the way she was. And it led to a lot of pain for Mike and me because she would just show up at our houses and just be doing weird shit and crazy stuff. She showed up at his house talking in Siouxian rhymes, and which is one of the side effects of the form of type O schizophrenia she had.
Mm-hmm.
And he would begin to speak in nonsensical rhymes. It was really weird. I'm not going to take that call because I know it's just reminding me about my appointment.
It's a good movie, though. It's a good
They
movie.
always call you during shows.
Yeah,
Gallipoli.
Gallipoli is a great film. I'm very fond of it. I still think it's odd that they chose Germanic lettering.
Yeah, that was kind of strange.
Oh, well, they were fighting the Ottoman Empire, so.
The Ottomans were not Germans. And that
Well-
was the end, by the way. That was the end of the Ottoman Empire. They finally fell out. And Turkey just has gone through a lot of problems and the renaming or rebranding of cities. Constantinople. They even got a great song about it. Come on.
Hmm.
Everybody knows this one, right?
No.
Oblivious. Teach me, a wise one. Teach me.
The little song called Istanbul by They Might Be Giants.
Okay.
Do you guys not know the song?
I may not know it.
From-
Yeah.
I only know.
I'll play it for you after the show.
The only song from They Might Be Giants that I know is the one that they use on the show Malcolm in the Middle.
It's the same band.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you. It's the
What's
only
the band?
one. It's
You're not the
only-
boss of me.
Yeah.
They Might Be Giants. It's the name
Well,
of the band.
Tim knows the song.
Tim knows
Yeah.
everything. You were right about the lettering, Gary.
There you go.
They didn't use-
Shinatsky knows it too. Nobody's business but the Turks.
They didn't use the modern Turkish alphabet until 1928, so it shouldn't have been Latin lettering.
Well, it was a bloody battle. Over 200,000 Allied forces were killed. A lot of them were Australian. But oddly, about the same number of Turks were killed in the battle. About 250,000. So it was just a really brutal.
That whole war was a meat grinder, man. It's just. Oh. That's why I never.
That's why they wanted it to be the war to end all wars. It wasn't called World War One. It was called the War to End All Wars because it was that bloody.
They couldn't
And
have known
brutal.
that another one was close.
Millions of people.
Well, when we allowed the French and English to determine the Treaty of Versailles and not step in, it was inevitable that World War II was going to come. What they did to Germany, the German people, what they did to the German people was just unacceptable. I mean, I remember in history class learning that they had to take a barrel full of money, marks, to buy a loaf of bread.
Mm.
Wow.
The cost of living was so bad in inflation. It just, the devaluation of the mark. You can't let countries like France and England, who, yes, they got hurt the worst, determine who's going to pay for that war. And they put everything on Germany. And the U.S. would never do that. The U.S. we've always been very tactical in how we plan things out in order to make sure the country survives the end of the war. We want them to never become an enemy again.
Yeah, the Japanese flourished after.
Well, as one great Lee Iacocca said, the Japanese ate the Americans' lunch because we made the lunch and then let them eat it.
Yep.
And look what they did with it. They would beat us at everything. They would take what we created and manufacture a larger scale for less money. And of course they won the technology war. So, but anyway,
I love that line in Die Hard where the boss at the beginning of it, when he's first meeting Bruce Willis, he goes, "We got you with tape decks, right?"
Got you with the tape decks. So, but we are at the end of the show. It's a great show today. I love that film. It's fun talking with everybody. It was once New Amsterdam. That's right. So clearly some fans of the song. Because that's a great song. It is a great
I may
tune.
have heard it before, and I may not even know.
You'll know it when I play it. You go, "Oh, that song! I know that song." It's a very well known song. It was a big hit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, it was great doing the show today. I hope everybody had a good time, and we will be back again next Monday. What are we talking about next Monday? Have we planned it?
Don't know.
Let me check. I don't think
I'd love to know
but
so I could push it for you. Because I always push.
no,
those.
we have nothing for next Monday.
We only have Saturdays planned. A lot of
Yep. Yeah.
Well, what's on tap for Saturday?
For this Saturday, I think would be Ypres File.
Oh, this has been postponed for a while too.
Then we
No,
have
I
nothing.
think we had something. It's
No, he said he's got something. Isn't it
I
Tom
do.
Derek?
It's called Rock and Rolla is one I wanted to bump up
Yeah,
to this
that one.
Saturday
Rock and roll.
and bump Ipcris File off again because she's gonna have to watch it again with me.
yeah,
be
it's
able to
been
do
a
it.
year since we watched that. I think.
In fact, I even said to you the other day, Martin, I'm really considering just pulling it because I just don't know if we'll ever be able to get around to it, watching it again. Yeah, we were at 100 some yesterday for Highlander. We're at 251 today.
But it has the
I bet
red
that was
symbol.
a good show.
It has a breath symbol.
The red symbol. It is claimed. You have to go and clean that up.
Oh,
Someone keeps moving my chair. Is that a real movie or are you trolling, Shanatsky? Or it's a song?
I imagine it's probably the clips at the end got called.
Yeah.
Can't.
The Damn Busters is on the list, I remember.
Yeah, it's that clip at the end I did. Yeah, I'm just going to trim it out.
I always revisit my videos about once a month because every once in a while they'll claim something later.
There we go. It's cleaned up.
Those sons of bitches.
But if you showed it on Rumble, you can see it in its entirety on Rumble.
I will tell you this. We are doing The Departed on the next Tom and Gary.
Oh, nice. You going to talk about Infernal Affairs?
Yes, you can't talk about The Departed and not talk about Infernal Affairs.
It's a trilogy. I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah, I've only wanted to watch the first one.
I heard the first one's really the best one. But,
I've never heard anything good about any of the other ones.
yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, that's the end of it. We will see you next back time. Same bat channel.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Voila.